What is Dead Space?
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I wish I could just talk to someone.
Dead Space is a sci-fi survival horror game created by Glenn Schofield and published by Visceral Games on October 14th, 2008. And with this video, I intend to persuade you, or at least shed some light on this amazing and terrifying game I grew to love over the years. Just to give a little summary, Dead Space is a third-person sci-fi survival horror game that takes place in the year 2508, in which our main character, Isaac Clarke, a space engineer, and his crew get sent a distress signal from the USG Ishimura, a planet cracker. Subsequently, him and his crew, the USG Kellyan, and emergency maintenance crew take up the job of investigating the distress signal from the USG Ishimura. While the crew's main reason for investigating the distress call is kept mostly unknown until the end of the game, Isaac's main motivation is to find his wife Nicole Brennan, a senior medical officer who is aboard the USG Ishimura, but as they arrive, things seem to take a turn for the worst.
The hell?
I don't know, something's in the room with us.
Jesus! Open fire! Open fire! Sender! Power! Sender!
Come on. Got it!
Isaac! Get the hell out of there!
The doors are locked! Run! Run, Isaac! Get the hell out of there!
Quick disclaimer before we start, Miss Thomas, I'm very sorry that the story section is, well, a bit short. At the beginning of the video, I had to cut it down due to some time constraints. But besides that, let's get started. To start off this section of the video, let's talk about the environment of Dead Space. The environment of Dead Space is very dark and eerie in nature, as the corridors and rooms you walk into are dark and littered with blood and corpses, which help escalate and simulate the horrors that took place before Isaac's arrival on the ship. Along with that, one thing I do love about the environment is that it shows you that people lived and worked on the Ishimura, as there are mess halls, offices, and living quarters that you pass through. This feeling is also amplified due to the game's graphics. Even though the game is practically over 14 years old, that still doesn't mean the graphics still don't hold up today, as the graphics were advanced at the time and helped the game give off its signature style. Along with that, the graphics help bring life to the environments you walk and stumble upon in the game, as certain sections have some amazing visuals. Due to the graphics, most areas end up dark and unsettling, which helps set fear into the players as they play, and this effect is also amped up by its amazing sound design. The sound design is just amazing, as it helps make the environment believable while also striking fear into the players. The sounds that are played in the game create a sense of paranoia, as you can hear screams, growls, and whispers echoing through the ship's walls, as in certain segments of the game it helps scare the player due to its robust and loud tone. finish off this video, let's talk about the user interface of Dead Space. Due to the game's heavy inspiration from Resident Evil 4, the game's user interface is almost non-existent, which helps in the game's favor as it immerses players into the game, giving them the feeling that they're inside the game. Even though it is not apparent from an outside perspective, the health bar, stasis gauge, reticle, and ammo count appear on the player's person, as this design choice makes the game feel unique while also giving a nice aesthetic feel to the gameplay. These design choices are also supplemented by the weapons of Dead Space. The weapons of Dead Space help supplement the gameplay loop in which the game offers, while also giving a unique combat experience for the player. The enemies you face in the game cannot be killed through regular means such as a shot to the head, as their bodies are morphed to an extreme extent. This predicament leaves the player with the only option of cutting off the limbs of their enemies to stop them in their tracks. And that's where your weapons come in. The weapons of this game aren't really weapons, they're more akin to tools. Since the Ishimar is a mining ship, you're more likely to find mining tools inside such a place. And along with that, the protagonist Isaac Clarke is a space engineer, which means he knows how to use these tools while also being handy with them. The enemies of the game are called necromorphs, and they are unique in design and are varied in typing, which helps scale the difficulty of the game. For example, the necromorph slashers are the first basic enemy type in the game that you face. They come in different variants and scale in difficulty as they gather in hordes and attack the player in mass. Another enemy type is the Infector, which latches on to dead bodies and transforms them into more difficult variations of the necromorph slasher. And with the game's large variety of enemies, this helps keep the gameplay engaging and entertaining, while also keeping the player alert and terrified throughout the game. So, as I wrap up this video, I'd like to say thank you to those of you who sat down to watch this video, and thank you Ms. Thomas for letting me make this video. I'm sorry for skipping out on the story section, but due to EOCs coming up and some personal constraints, I had to cut it down to a summary, as there's a lot of lore that goes into the story of the game, and I didn't have time to cover it all, so I do apologize for that. Even though the game is 14 years old, I do believe that anyone can enjoy this game. Yeah, some might not jump at some of the scares, but I do recommend this game to those who like survival horror or are new to horror games in general, as this game can cultivate into an amazing and immersive experience all can enjoy. But before I go, I have two more things I like to talk about regarding this game. A remake of this game will be available on January 27th of next year. So if you're interested in the game, I highly recommend you play the remake, as it keeps the original game's charm while giving it some new improvements and a next-gen graphical update. But there is also one more thing I would like to talk about.
I just love that last part. Gives me chills every time.
The creator of Dead Space, Glenn Schofield, is making another horror game called Callisto Protocol. This game is due to release on Friday, December 2nd of this year, which is 6 days away from the making of this video. So, as an entry game, I highly recommend you check it out. So, with all that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all later in another video. Have a great day, and stay frosty.